It is notable here that larger U.S. businesses have seemingly chosen to sit out this landmark legal battle over Trump's emergency tariffs. It is smaller businesses that have taken up the fight instead in front of the Supreme Court. Now, one of the lead plaintiffs in the case is Learning Resources, which makes educational toys and other products. Its CEO, Rick Woldenberg, says this is not about politics. He says, and I'm quoting him now, he's simply a taxpayer who's been hit with an unlawful tax. Rick Woldenberg, CEO of Learning Resources, joins us now. Grateful to you to stand by for us as we got to that breaking news. I have read into what you've been saying the last few weeks, and you describe your business now that you're basically commercial refugees to these tariffs, trying and failing at times to really find a place that escapes these Trump tariffs. So I ask you, what would a win in court mean for you? And are you optimistic after what you heard in court? And obviously you were listening to Joan as well.
Well, we're confident in what we saw in court today, but we were confident going in as well. We felt we had read the law correctly and that the law does not provide for tariffs. I think that the hearing explored that question thoroughly. A win for us, I believe, leads to a refund of the tariffs that we've paid. And, that's really important. We could use that money. It's millions of dollars, and we'll put it to good use here in the United States, which is where we live and where we operate our business.
In terms of that refund, Amy Coney Barrett made she said it could be upwards of $100 billion. She agreed that it would likely be a mess. She asked and got the answer.
Well, it's a little difficult for me to have my heart bleed for the administration. If the money was taken from us unlawfully, if it's $100 billion or $100, they're very, very efficient at taking the money from us. Just turn the spigot on backwards and send it back to us. I don't really think it will be that difficult to figure out what they took from us unlawfully. I can circle the numbers on a piece of paper and send it to them. The tariffs went from an average of like 1.5% to 2% to over 100% in some cases. It's not going to be that hard to figure out. And they took the money unlawfully, so they have to give it back. I apologize that it's inconvenient.
If you win, but perhaps there is a way that you don't actually get the refund, do you think it's still a significant ruling? And many people have pointed out that, look, this is not exclusive to a Republican administration. Democrats, if Trump wins here, Democrats can and may use the tariff power themselves.
I can't speculate on what they will do or they won't do. I think that our case is important for a couple reasons. First of all, it's about a lot of money that is a massive tax increase. I think all Americans agree that taxes are not the greatest thing. So nobody is in favor of more taxes, and this is a massive one. The second thing is that we're all dependent in our daily lives with the assumption that the rule of law will be respected. We make all kinds of decisions when we buy a house, when we get a mortgage, when we put our money in a 401k. All of those things is dependent on the rule of law. This case, in some respects, is a referendum on the rule of law, and it will hopefully do something to restore confidence to people that they understand the rules of the game and that the rules of the game will be observed fairly and impartially for everyone's benefit. That is, I think, fundamental to the American way of life.
Given the fact that the United States is in the middle of a record-breaking shutdown, I'm not sure many Americans would share your optimism at this point in time. And I do want to ask you, the White House has made clear that even if they lose in the Supreme Court, that they believe there are laws, other mechanisms that allow the Trump administration, to continue to slap tariffs on imports. How will you fight that? And I'm sure it's something that you're aware could happen and that your legal team has discussed with you.
Well, I have my own opinions on what they can do and what they cannot do. The real question is, what will they do? All of these things have a political cost. And as you know, we're heading towards the midterms. The midterms are almost exactly 1 year from today. And you could say that the midterms are a cloud on the horizon. Every day we march closer to the midterms, the political costs of imposing this massive tax on Americans will rise. So what will they do? That's a political calculation they're going to have to make. But the voters run this country, not the politicians, and they'll decide if they like the direction of this country. That may influence their decisions.
I only have about 30 seconds left, but we had a consequential election in the last 24 hours. You said this wasn't about politics, and yet, from what I hear from you, you believe getting rid of these tariffs, that politics will play a role.
Well, sure, because it's government of the people, by the people, for the people. So it's the voters who run this country. The people who are in Washington are our neighbors that we assigned the job of running the government for us. The government is us, we are the government. And so, of course, the voters are going to care and be interested in what happens. I think ultimately the voters will decide everything in this country.
Rick Woldenberg will continue to watch this case closely, of course. Appreciate it.